Catholicism today leads us to explore marriage. And when we explore either of these facets of our life, our faith in general or marriage in specific, you can't help but to just cling to the Holy Spirit and hold on for a ride, kind of like a great thunderbolt ride or a roller coaster ride. The ride of marriage is one that has obviously so fruit at the same time, trials and challenges. And as we begin this, I thought there was a beautiful reflection written by Father Dave Pavanka, who is the president of Franciscan University, speaking about the Holy Spirit, but I think we can intertwine marriage. Living married life in the Spirit is the ultimate adventure. I can guarantee you will see things you never imagined, go places you never dreamed of. There will be times when you feel like giving up, but out of nowhere you will be filled with the power to keep going. You will fall in love again, again, and again. Your heart will be broken and healed. It will be made stronger each time. There will be times when you feel like totally lost, confused, and in the dark, and be filled with utter excitement, anticipating and wondering how God is going to save the day. You will become an integral part of the most amazing, passionate love affair ever known to humanity. Your life will not be your own, and you won't care. Such is living married life in the Spirit. Welcome to Exploring Catholicism today. It's an inspiration and a great gift that we get to speak today to Arlene Milon. Before I introduce her, or as I introduce her, one of the things that strikes me about being able to introduce Arlene is that the focus of being able to take a marketing career, a tremendous career, and now focusing that not just on her own marriage and on her own family, but helping others has been something that's been a huge help for me. When I think of her, I think of her role and how she allows me to experience the Holy Spirit in her own marriage and in the marriages that we've been assisting with our foundation. Her path to marriage, momhood, and now she's executive director of this marriage foundation called Renew the I Do. All reasons for her coming on the program today. But for me, more importantly, she's a dear friend and somebody who inspires me to be the better priest that God, I hope, will allow me to continue to be. No matter what my workload, what kind of stuff I go through, whenever you have a conversation with Arlene, you're always inspired to keep going, to allow the Spirit to give you that strength to go. So today it's great to explore Catholicism by exploring marriage through a tremendous person, and Arlene Milon. Arlene, welcome to the show. I once heard that your first date with your dear husband was at a circus. Is that true? And do you recommend that to be a first date for anybody?
Yes, that was our first date, actually. That is where we met. We met at the Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus in Dallas, and Dallas, Texas. We both lived there. We were both from Pennsylvania. Bill was from Pittsburgh. I was from northeastern Pennsylvania, but living in Dallas, that was my first job out of college. And I used to actually think that the circus was a great date, and I would give tickets as the promoter for that town. I would give tickets to all my friends and say, bring someone in, and it's a great blind date because if you're getting along, you can talk and laugh, during the circus and have fun. If you're not, you can just watch the show. But like if someone's not going to have fun at the circus, that will tell you a lot too. So I always thought that was a great idea. And Bill actually came as a date with one of my friends, and that's where we first met. So
yeah, I've always been inspired by that story because you're right. It's like, if you're going to date or just go out with somebody, you want to be able to talk to them, but as well, it could be awkward. And so I always felt like movies was too isolating. Like you weren't really able to talk during a movie. And if it was just a dinner, you'd be too focused on what am I supposed to say now? But something that you can both enjoy together seems to be a great same. So you mentioned you're from Pennsylvania. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania.
Okay. How do you spell that?
Tunkhannock.
Wow, do that a couple times.
I spelled it a lot in my time. But yeah, northeastern Pennsylvania, outside of Scranton. So very small town. I was born in New Jersey. My parents are from New Jersey. But yeah, my dad was transferred there when I was in second grade, and I graduated high school there. And so yeah, very small town, one traffic light. My mom, being from New Jersey, had challenges, let's say, just living in a small town, but we all loved it. It was a great experience, and just kind of fun living living in that environment. But she was very sure to make sure, she would always take us to New York and visit my grandmother in New Jersey and travel a lot while we lived there. So we did it. I thought it was a great place to grow up. I love it. And then I went to Lehigh University.
Before Lehigh, though, talk about your parents. When you think back to their marriage, were there things about them that you kind of reflect on? There's a great picture of them, maybe
Yes.
that particular picture, or just their marriage in general. Is there something about that helped you or inspired you?
Yeah, because they kissed a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they really did. They were big. They would always kiss. They're like, chase each other around the kitchen table and, just funny things, but they would kiss a lot. So I just thought that was, it's in you growing up with that. That's just what every parents do, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you think. And then, just in your time, traveling and meeting tons of people, I don't think that's what every parents, I don't think that's what all parents do. But anyway, it was fun. It was fun for us. They really dug one another, and they had a great marriage. But not, of course, without its challenges and a lot of we moved a lot. But overall, they were really in love and really liked to be together. So that was a great example for my sister and I growing up.
Anything about the faith, maybe your Catholic faith, or any of the things that you remember, you think of Thanksgiving or Christmas, or any traditions that they held to in their marriage and in your family that you think back on?
Well, they were both Polish. So
Yeah.
I grew up in this Polish family, and we had Vilia on Christmas Eve, and we made pierogies and, homemade, and kibasi, and we did all that. And so it was fun. That was a big tradition, and I've carried that on with my family. And I think my mom really appreciates that, that we continue to do that, even just in my family. But yeah, we went to mass every Sunday. That was the faith in my family. It was strong because it's just what you do. It was expected. We went to church every Sunday. You really didn't miss, but we didn't really talk about it as much outside of the family. There was just a lot of, I feel like looking back, there were just a lot of expectations, and I didn't really understand it, learn it. And because we moved around a lot, I didn't have like a great, first communion program or confirmation program. I just felt like it was just this constant in my life that I always did and appreciated, but really learned about the faith and the genius of Catholicism as an adult later on. It really wasn't through my upbringing. I think probably a lot of people are like that, but I just feel like in this world of, all the awesome people I hang out with, they were brought up with a lot more knowledge, let's say, than I was until this point in my life. So
it's been interesting, since I now live in the Beaver Valley, the effect that the Polish culture has on our community, even here. I mean, obviously you're in Pennsylvania, but whether it be the pierogi, whether it be the faith, whether it be the way they nourish us, taught me a lot too. And I think that helps really build the community together, when you're able to take some of those cultural backgrounds and be able to enrich that the way I guess your parents did for you. So where did you then end up in college?
I went to Lehigh University in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So that was an awesome experience. I loved it.
And you studied what, like business and marketing there?
Yeah, I have a business degree, business marketing. And my husband always busts on me, but I like to say that I am one class short of a psychology minor.
Oh.
And so that, I guess, just gives me permission to care, maybe, and get inside people's heads and try to figure out, and I think it helps the whole marketing thing, because I just try to figure out like what people want to do and why they do them and why they think they do. I'm fascinated by that. So
now, I don't know if there were a lot of women in the marketing and business program at Lehigh at your time. Was that something that was more cutting edge, did you feel? Or did you think that, did you have a lot of women in the
well, it was once, Lehigh was an all boys school 5 years prior to me getting there. So the ratio was pretty high.
Exactly.
Of course, I didn't know that going there, but it turned out to be a good thing. Yeah. So, no, there were women in the, I actually went to be an engineer and changed my mind. And I'm glad I did, because I just had a fascinating time with, there were a lot of women in my marketing classes and stuff. So we did some really neat projects, and I really appreciated my education there. It was wonderful.
So then you went from there, and you did get eventually involved with what, the greatest show on earth?
The greatest show on earth. That's right. Yeah, right out of college. That was my
okay.
first job right out of college. So, yeah, I wanted, I wanted to just really enjoy my job. I just like saw too much of people just working so hard. I just thought, I'm young and let's just go for it and see what happens. I wanted to work for a sports team. I grew up a Giants fan, actually. I hate to admit that. But I just thought, I'd like put resumes out to all the teams. And I was a big football fan. I was like the son my father never had. And so I thought, if I could work for a football team or, but anyway, that I just kind of threw that resume out there, thought, well, that'll be a hoot. I never even went to the circus, actually. Growing up, never. They didn't come to Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania, They
didn't?
No.
I think that'd be a booming place to have a circus.
We had random, maybe carnivals or something, but we did not have the greatest show on earth. So, but yeah, and then I went on a big cattle call interview with a bunch of people and didn't really think that anything was going to come of it, even though I really enjoyed my interview. And then they called two of us, a guy that's one of my greatest friends to this day. And we were, promoters for Ringling Brothers, right? Starting that day. And I remember that my boss called and said, you have to come down, fly down to Tampa. That's where he lived. And, we want to offer you this job and you'll start on this day. And I said, I remember thinking like, how long should I pack for? And he said, forever. And I was like, oh my gosh, so here I am in this small town and then, packed my bags, got on a plane and flew to Tampa and started my Ringling career living in Florida. So, but I was 22. I was scared to death and, just trying to figure it all out. But it was definitely a job where you sink or swim, you either figured it out and were successful or it was too much. So luckily I had a ton of people helping me and teaching me and just sort of carrying me along with them until I could, take on my own cities and promote them. But you had to do everything from, cutting major deals and sponsorships to, you get a call on the radio during, a show and we ran out of something in the, and you're just like, this is crazy. It was just so much fun and so much just in general. It was like our life, all my friends were promoters too, all my friends, also concierges in hotels, it was life on the road. So it was a great experience. It really helped me grow up quickly. But it was a great job for your 20s. And you got personally involved. I think we have a picture or two of you like dancing or doing something with that was I think that's the clown picture. We would have guest clowns come. We would have, celebrities. Dan Marino actually came to the circus in Miami when I promoted it. But yeah, we would have people be guest clowns and we would take them back to Clown Alley, dress them up, local celebrities, weathermen, sports heroes, and then put them in the show and then interview them after. And I would always take people to do that. But then in my last 6 months, I was like, I want to be a guest clown. so all my clown friends were like, come on back. And so they dressed me up as a clown. And that was sort of fun way to go out in style of, just my last year at Ringling Brothers. So behind the scenes of a circus, a lot of stuff goes on. You tend to enjoy just the front. So what were some other things that you liked about behind the scenes? I loved it. It never got old to me. Really? I think the coolest part, the train traveled. The show traveled on a mile-long train. Oh, a train. Yeah. Wow. So it would pull into the city, and Bill would always tell these crazy stories. But the train would pull into the city, and you would be tracking it. You would call the train station and ask if the Ringling train would go through. Yeah, because you had to time it such that you were there when the train arrived. And it could be 2:00 in the morning. And train tracks are never in great areas of cities. And then you would go and you'd meet Gunther Gable Williams or whoever the greatest animal trainer of all time was at the time and plan what time the animal walk was going to be, which was because then you had to call the media so that the media would come out and be there when the elephants walked from the train to the arena. And they couldn't get an Uber. Exactly. And you don't drive them on a truck or anything. They walk from the train to the arena. So that to me never got old, just watching elephants walk down the street. I'm like, how do you get used to this? So that was always a ton of fun. One time we were it was intermission of the show in Dallas, and I was back in my office, which is, you know, like in the bowels of the arena. And we all have radios, and I heard over the radio that it was actually like right before intermission, and I was heading down, and I hear over the radio before the show was going to break that a tiger got loose.
Oh.
During the show, like with the crowd in the stands, and you know that tiger act is, you know, surrounded by netting so the tigers can't get out. So somehow a tiger went back out the last car and went, you know, loose on the track and, you know, headed for the audience. And I'm hearing all this and I'm thinking, wait, I don't know what to do. Like, this is crazy. And I'm just sort of getting up thinking, what should I do? And I had the headline clown who was, you know, he was like the star of the show. He was in my office, you know, full clown regalia. He hears this, slams the door, picks up a chair, is just like ready to, you know, go out and defend whoever has it. And you just see all the doors slam all the way down the hallway of everybody, just like they all knew what to do. I never knew what to do because that never happened at one of my shows. But anyway, long story short, they got the tiger back, and but it was really scary. And you could see all of them just like, this is big. And I'm like, cool, a tiger got loose.
Yeah.
So, but you know, what did I know? But yeah, lots of fun, really cultured people. You know, this clown that I speak of, David Larible, spoke 5 different languages, played 5 musical instruments, knew every fabulous restaurant around the world, just could sing. I mean, they're all just so talented and such amazing athletes. And it was a great experience. It was really fun job to have in your 20s. It really was. So
you went, or at that time, you went from the greatest show on earth to the greatest love of your life in Bill. So you had that first date that we talked about. And how soon after that did you start thinking this could be something more than just a nice date at a circus? I just remembered him when I met him I met him at intermission because I went out to see all my friends. And I just remember him standing up, and he was just so like bright-eyed and, you know, asked me a bunch of questions like, wow, thanks for the tickets. Cause I didn't know him. I knew the friends that brought him. And he was just so personable and outgoing. And I just thought, what a great guy. Like, he just seems so nice. And he tells the story that, you know, he was, during the whole time, he was watching me with my radio, like on the ground, and talking to performers and stuff, and just sort of shaking his head like, who has that job? Like, what is that job all about? You know how you do that when you're in your 20s and you look at everybody else's job. So I think he was sort of like, what's that all about? And then all of a sudden I came out and I was the same person. So yeah, we started dating after that. And I brought him a couple times to the show. I remember he came to visit me in Houston, and he came in the back door, and I brought him to my office, and I just remember him looking around because he's in the steel industry. And I remember him looking around and saying, your job and my job are so different. So it was fun. We had a lot of fun just, you know, dating through that whole time. But he traveled a lot with his job. I traveled a lot with my job. So I think I started knowing that things were getting more serious when we would get out our day planners and plan when we could see each other again. I'm like, well, he like wants to, you know, this is, we both got that, you know, that you'd have to plan if you were going to date, you know? So I think that was neat that we both, you know, were now
traveling.
Bill Milon, that doesn't sound very Polish.
No.
And didn't he go to Notre Dame as well?
He did.
So did your parents approve of this non-Polish guy falling in love with you?
They did. My sister actually married Joe McGarvey, so
okay,
I followed in. Yeah, I knew it was safe. Like, if it was okay for her, then it was okay. It was okay for me too. So I love the whole Notre Dame thing. I thought, oh, that's interesting. You know, it's just different that he wasn't Polish. I think that was kind of attractive to me.
True. So how did he actually propose to you?
I lived in then I left and moved to New York. And,
sorry, what year are we talking about ish?
We're talking 1997.
Okay.
And so I actually left Ringling Brothers because it was just all that and more.
Yeah,
just like,
imagine.
I need a life and like real life. I remember thinking like, I want a dog and a house and a husband and like just to settle down. And so I started working for Madison Square Garden in Radio City and moved to New York, and we continued dating. So, and Bill moved to Chicago and went to business school. And so we continued dating through that. But when he proposed to me in New York, and we went to see Rent, and went out to dinner, and then he, got down on one knee and asked me to marry him. So yeah, it was really.
And you've
exciting.
been blessed with 2 amazing kids.
Yes, Luke and Kathleen.
You want to brag about them for a minute?
Yeah, of course.
There's the wedding day.
Yeah, that we got married in New York.
Where was that? Oh, New York.
Yeah, that was at Rockefeller Center in front of the tree.
Oh my gosh.
January 3rd, 1998. And I rented that big white fur coat because I thought that'd be kind of fun. And it was 75 degrees that day.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that was sort of fun. But yeah, we got married in New York, and then moved to Chicago right after that.
And then finally ended up here in Pittsburgh?
Yeah. We Chicago, Philly, then here. Yeah. And then Luke was born in Chicago, and then Kathleen was born here in Pittsburgh.
There they are.
Yep. There's Luke. Yeah, he's
where is he now?
He's at Dayton, University of Dayton. He's a freshman, and Kathleen is a freshman at Hampton High School.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
and she played Cinderella, is that right?
She did. Yeah,
that was awesome.
She was Cinderella. Thank you. You
yeah.
came. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, she was in the middle school play as Cinderella, so that was a ton of fun.
So I was blessed to meet Arlene at St. Mary the Assumption Parish in Glenshaw. And in that parish, there was this picture, I think, of you dancing, or Father John Marcucci dancing, like, what's that called? The rocket thingy?
Yeah, with the rockets.
Like with the Santa Claus stuff
yeah.
on. And so I asked Father Marcucci, who is this Arlene character? And he's like, oh, it's marketing. And then I met her through this woman, this mother's group, right? And as we started to talk, we both realized that perhaps doing some type of a renewal vows mass would be a great thing to do. And so, it's almost 9 years ago at St. Mary's when we did this. And what was your side of the story? At least on my side, seeing that from the altar, watching, 50 couples come together for this mass, just felt the Holy Spirit there. There was this older priest, he was like 99 years old. He was older than a lot of things I'd seen in my life. Just a great priest. And he was there next to me. And when everybody started to hug, I almost gave him a big hug. It was just so amazing to just see the electricity and the love that was just shared by seeing couples look in each other's eyes again. And that. So from a priest, I was like, wow, if this could be helpful to marriage, why are we not doing more of this, But what was your perspective of that at St. Mary's when we had that first kind of renewal vows mass?
Yeah, I remember thinking it was a great idea. I think it was your idea, and your parents had done, your parents, you were saying that your parents had their vows renewed several times. And I don't know, something just said like, this is going to be great. I just felt like it was going to be great, but probably since I had never experienced it, I didn't really know what to expect. I think along with everybody else that was there at the parish, I was, we were all blown away by how amazing it was. I mean, I think you were a huge part of that, just bringing everybody up on the altar. But I just think just just renewing your vows in itself and taking yourself back to that moment and looking at your spouse in the eyes, when you haven't really done that since your wedding like that, and everybody took it, so seriously, and it was so meaningful. And, I think I probably got caught up in all of the planning and all of that first, but then that day, I know what we were talking to some couples after, and everybody thought, oh yeah, we thought we were just going to come and like be in the pews and raise our right hand and repeat after me. And, everyone was just blown away by it. And I just think, I mean, you and I spoke about it, but just the feelings that everyone had really is what I think inspired you and I to.
And not too far after that, I remember Ashley Miller at the time, Dylan, she came to my office and she basically put her resume down and said, hey, if you ever want to really work on marriage and stuff, I just graduated. And I was just like, what is going on here? So we have, you and so many couples, and then somebody coming in out of college. And I started to think that as a priest and as a church, how much time do I really dedicate to enriching marriages? And I remember we did a lot with marriage prep, and unfortunately had a lot of work to do with couples who've been divorced and work through annulments. But if you think about it, that's where the majority of marriage time was dedicated, and none of those people are married. It's either before or unfortunately afterwards. So I started to think with you and others, it's like, well, what could a parish offer? What could what can the church offer married couples to enrich their marriages?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one day we kind of put that challenge out to you and your friends, and there you were, in your living room, and you kind of brainstormed the idea of Renew the I Do.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out what to call the Renewal Vows event, and we came up with Renew the I Do. And then, when we talked about starting a foundation and you brought that to me, we're just like, well, we should just call it Renew the I Do. That was great, so that was sort of fun. I remember too, when we came up with that name, it was just like this epiphany, like, yes, that's it. So that's always fun when things happen like that, because they don't always,
Right.
So
yeah.
But I think probably between Ashley and the event and, all of it, it was just sort of a perfect storm of, the Holy Spirit leading us here.
Right. No, I agree. And if we can put the website up, I think they just showed the link, which was good. It's been so exciting to think that the Lord would call us to put together a foundation now. 7 or 8 years of experience, hundreds of couples. The tribe keeps just growing, and just a real dynamism, both with couples who are helping us out, couples who are coming into this. And I love, inspiring marriages to thrive. It's not just to survive, but to thrive in our marriages. I hate hearing like marriages always being the butt end of a joke. And you just want to say, no, there's something sacred well beyond just like, let's just, just gut it out right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hope that Renew the I Do can be that kind of refreshing way in which the Holy Spirit can just allow that adventure of love. Sure, it's hard. Sure, there's challenges. And as you scroll through, it's, the website, Renew the I Do, you'll see all kinds of things where we'll host, a Renewal Vows event at your parish, just as we described. Is there anything in that you would say would be interesting for people to hear about? And what has been your experience since our first time with that?
It's wonderful. Right there on the website, there's actually a planning guide that anyone that's interested in doing that in their parish can just download that planning guide. And it gives you all sorts of ideas. The neat thing, since we've brought this up and encouraged, 1 or 2 couples to take this to their parish, talk to their priest about it, and then plan it, is everyone has come up with, their own really creative ideas that work for their parish. Like one parish had everybody bring their kids, which we didn't really promote that when we did it, but some couples did bring their kids. And what a beautiful, witness to have your own children see you get married. That's not something that typically happens. So I thought that was a fantastic idea. We actually had a reception at a winery, at Narcisi Winery, but which made sense for the group, the people that we were inviting. Other people have done ice cream socials after, champagne toasts after, dinners downstairs in their halls. So there's, it's just, it's the guide is there to exactly that, guide you, but there's, so many ideas, and all the readings are there, the music is there, all the things that have been done are there just to really inspire, because we just want everyone to get that feeling of renewing their vows and understand how meaningful it can be. And I really think it's a great way to bring parishes together, especially in all that's going on now, and the different mergers. I just think it's a way to get to know couples and each other, and be with a lot of married people. We're all imperfect married couples. We're not, there's no, none of us have it totally figured out. We're all figuring it out together. But, it's nice to just be around other married couples and do this together. It means a lot. So we really are encouraging people to do it in their parishes. And we're here to help, marketing wise or support wise, or talk to a priest for you, or whatever you think you need. We're there for anyone who's, willing to do it, because it's an amazing event.
We had mentioned that the mission has to do with trying to thrive in today's culture by research, science, and the Holy Spirit. And we always have Mass at our events. Why do you think having that prayerful experience of the Lord in a marriage through the Eucharist is important? And what have you seen from that in our date nights?
Mm-hmm. I think it's everything. In the end, I feel like part of our mission too is to inspire marriage just to thrive in today's culture.
Right.
So it's one thing when you're in church together, or you're always, couple, just going to church together is the number one thing married couples can do together.
Amen.
For a thriving marriage. But it's hard, on top of that, we just want people to be having fun together. So that's why we're trying to do these events. And then while they're there, we always include Mass. You're going to go to Mass anyway, come to Mass, because people do leave, and they're, it's not about the meatballs or the great food or drinks that we're having, which is also fun and a reason to come for sure. But they're always talking about, Mass and how you inspired them when you typically do the Masses, or we have other fabulous priests that are happily part of our mission. And they just get so much out of it. People just if they're not experiencing it, they don't really know what they're missing until they're there. And it's just such a nice combination of fun and community and laughs and inspiration. And you go home with the inspiration lasting in your heart, for sure.
So what are some of the crazy places where we've done Mass? Do you remember any?
Father Jay likes to do Masses in crazy places. We've done Mass on a boat. That was really fun. At the Roberto Clemente Museum, at Heinz Field, at PNC Park, prior to square dancing. And in churches all over Pittsburgh. But
like Troy Hill, I remember last year,
yeah.
We're right now filming this in the November time, and it was right during this time where we talked about that call to holiness and being around the saints. So Troy Hill has obviously, St. Anthony's Chapel has one of the great places to be able to celebrate the Mass.
And in my own backyard, we did.
In your own backyard, not too far away. It was a COVID-friendly Mass.
Yeah, it was a COVID-friendly Mass.
So obviously, prayer is a component to this. But why date nights? What would be the importance of a date night for a marriage, do you think?
I think that's, in our research, we have found that praying together and going on date nights are the, two most important things you can do. And it's well documented, in all of our research. So, and I think couples, especially in the busy years with kids and sports and everything going on, they forget to leave the house and go have a date night. It doesn't have to be a fancy restaurant, but it just needs to be together, not focused on your kids, not focused on work or activities, just to be together and remember why you fell in love to begin with. So, every time we have a date night, people do say that. They're just like, we really needed this. We're so glad we did this. We really needed this. This was so much fun. And just to have fun together, because that's why we married our spouse to begin with, because they were fun and we enjoyed their company. And so if you're too busy in your, schedules, which we all get, but I just really, we just really encourage to, make time to go on date nights. It doesn't even have to be at our date nights, but just really to know that those are the two most important research factors out there: praying together, going to Mass, and going on date nights. It's not that hard, to have a thriving marriage, but a lot of people don't know that or don't take the time to do it. It is hard, but it's super important. So
why do we need Renew the I Do? Can anybody just go on a date night? What makes the date nights different than maybe what a typical couple could do on a date night?
Because we do all the work for you.
Well, we have somebody who has experience in marketing and entertainment.
He set me up for that. That's what we always say. We're like, we have these fabulous date nights. We have all these fun connections. We have people wanting to, host our date nights, and, Mass, drinks, food, cool atmosphere, and a lot of, couples that are, just trying to do their best in marriage along with you, just supporting each other. And I just think that whole atmosphere together is a great combination.
What are some of the favorite date nights, maybe more recent ones we've done, even a COVID-friendly date night? What are some examples?
Yeah, our last one, we loved it, was The Amazing Race. It was patterned after The Amazing Race. We called it The Amazing Date.
There's a picture.
Oh, yeah, there it is. We started with Mass at St. Mary's at Assumption, and then our fabulous event director, Drew Martyr, came up with all these really cool clues that took couples all through Pittsburgh. So they worked together in cars, which was COVID friendly. Mass was outside, and then we try not to make it unsafe and a race, but people did take it that way, and we did have fabulous winners, and we gave them the marriage cup. It was like the Stanley Cup you awarded them, which was sort of fun, and we all ended up on Mount Washington for that big fun group pick.
So they went around as a couple doing a scavenger hunt through Pittsburgh. That's just one example. And that would be hard to do by yourself if you didn't have other couples in competition. What are some other date nights that you've looked back at now and are proud of?
I love the Roberto Clemente Museum. That was neat. We rented the museum for a night. Everybody got to walk around and look at that. And that's not just a public museum that you can go into and out anytime you want. So that was neat to host couples there. And we had a mass there. It's just so neat. We had mass in the locker room at PNC Park.
That's right. I forgot about that.
So that was awesome too. I mean, these aren't things you can, just go do on your own. So we're thrilled to sort of just present new creative, unique ideas throughout Pittsburgh so that people can come have fun together and with us. And it's fun to see couples like, we hadn't had a date for a while because of COVID, and we came up with the amazing date that would work. That would be really COVID friendly. And a lot of people, we had a great turnout. A lot of people were like, oh, I miss my Renew the I Do friends, So it is nice to see other couples, even though you are on. It's like a giant double date, as we like to say too.
That's true. And what about upcoming date nights and things coming up? Is there something specific that you think would be important for people to know about?
Yeah, we have 2 fun things coming up this Sunday. Actually, Christopher West, who is a renowned expert in theology of the body, and he's a speaker and a writer, and he is a big, just a wonderful, inspirational speaker on marriage. He wrote a book called "Love is Patient, but I'm Not." Which I think is a fabulous title and super fun. We sent it to all of our couples, and he is going to be live on Zoom with Father Jay this Sunday night at 7:30. So we invite everybody to come. It's on our website. You can get a link for the Zoom link and sign up there to get the Zoom link, and then join us this Sunday at 7:30. It's going to be a lot of fun, and he is a lot of fun. So I hope you're looking forward to that.
He
too.
is. He takes that beautiful passage from Corinthians, which is so popular in wedding liturgy, especially as a reading, and just goes through that. Love is patient, but I'm not.
Yeah.
So it's a very realistic view, taking that sublime passage from St. Paul, but making it user-friendly.
Truly, and he really does. He's super honest about just, his shortfalls in marriage, which resonate with, I think, a lot of people, because we are all, have our own shortfalls, but you're like, oh, it's good to see you do that too. It's funny too. It's a light book when he
and
gets
just
personal.
As an advertisement, we'll be giving away, I think it was said here, that we'll give away a copy of the books if anybody has any questions about Renew the I Do, about our marriage ministry, or any questions at all for Arlene or myself. It'd be wonderful to be able to do that. So, Arlene, you hear about that stat, 50% divorce rate, this, that, or another, and you've done a lot of research and going deeper into that. Would you agree that obviously praying together, date nights, and being open to life, to really understanding the great gift of natural family planning, would be 3 aspects of a healthy marriage that would reduce marriage divorce rate down a lot, from like 50% down to, I don't know, hasn't some of the research that's even gone further down than that, if you do those 3 things?
Definitely. That's the third thing. I didn't mention that earlier since we were on date nights, but just being open to life and having a very close, intimate relationship is the key. That's the third most important thing, So, and I think we have just launched a new website called Modern Fertility Care. From all of the feedback that we have received from our engaged couples, that as part of their marriage preparation, they take a course in modern fertility care and learn all the natural methods and of family planning, and just what they've learned about, just being focused on women's health and their healthy sex lives has been so important and inspirational to all of them. And they have come back to us just like, I never knew any of this. And that is so interesting to hear from, 20-year-olds that didn't, learn any of this. And I also put myself in that category. I mean, there's a lot of parents that aren't, and mothers that, one, either didn't know about it themselves. So it's not like they're, hiding the secret. It's just that it's not really talked about. So when you go to a class and you learn about natural fertility and all the modern methods, which science is right up there with all these modern methods. This isn't the rhythm method that, you learn from one woman in a church basement, as I like to say. This is like, we are out there now, and people are really understanding the benefits of modern fertility care and all the modern methods and learning about the research. And all of our couples come back and they're kind of like, all right, I'll go take this class because I have to in order to get married. And they come back and they just say, wow, that was really important. And so we hear this time and time again. And so we just thought we really need to focus on this. So we kept building up part of our website, Unrenew the I Do, with all this information and places where you can learn more about it and take classes. And then we just said, we need to launch a whole website just about this subject. So we just launched Modern Fertility Care last week, modernfertilitycare.org. And you can go on there and find providers that doctors who can help women with infertility issues, that are having serious female issues, that they've gone down the medical, the just mainstream OBGYN medical path and haven't had success, can go on there and find doctors that can help them in various, in various different things that are going on with their health. And then we had 5 teachers in Pittsburgh as of last year. And now we just trained 10 more. We have 15 teachers in 4 different methods that you can go on and go to the class calendar on Modern Fertility Care and take a class. It depends on which method you choose based on your own habits and, a couple different things. But generally speaking, they're all, operating with the same principles. So,
so formally, or this used to be called, or traditionally it still is, natural family planning. And when you look at St. John Paul II and what he brought to our world through theology of the body, in other words, our bodies reveal God's love. Mm-hmm. That's what theology is. It's the revelation of God, and he reveals himself as love. And thus marriage becomes the icon of God's love. And you can look at Ephesians 5 and you see how Jesus loves his church and sacrifices himself as the groom for his bride. And so you look at what's going on in our world today, and it seems to me, and maybe you could enlighten us now, you have obviously a daughter who's in high school now, it seems like girls are discouraged to get to know their superpower, their fertility, mm-hmm. and they're encouraged instead to put all these chemicals in there that throw them off completely. Mm-hmm. Whether it just be simple things like acne or something going on with their skin, it seems like they're taking these chemicals that just contradict both the science and the beauty of who they are. Mm-hmm. Would you speak to that a bit? Would you agree with that?
I definitely do. And I think, we always talk about, be who you were created to be who God created you Amen. To be, and it is a superpower. A woman's fertility is just amazing, and I'm even more amazed now just because I've learned so much more than I did, growing up. But it is really a superpower to just embrace and learn about how to manage it yourself. All superheroes need to manage their superpowers, and it is a superpower if you look at it that way. And just to get young girls who just go through puberty, to get them charting, and so that they can learn about, how do I feel at this time of the month? We even are promoting this one article that we read that the women's soccer team, the U.S. soccer team, because, they're all together all the time, they kind of all got on the same cycle. And just doctors that understood how the female body works, and it's best, times to train harder than others, best times to sort of lay off a little and have everybody rest. Just in this, sort of 20 to 30 day cycle, it varies, but generally speaking, our cycles are similar. And just what you can learn for health and wellness. And then on top of, learning about how to manage your fertility. And we talk to young girls now, like they're not too concerned about, family planning. So that's sort of why we don't call it that. It's modern fertility care. This is just be in charge of your body and just learn it. So start charting early, and there's classes on there and apps. You can chart on an app. Everybody wants, that's easy. There's an app for everything. So,
but even before we get into that, so you're saying that the U.S. women's team won the gold medal, and those women were not on contraception. In fact, what they allowed the natural rhythm of their body to both energize them and influence them in such a way that they became better athletes. They won the gold medal, but at the same time, they weren't on contraception.
I don't know about that. I don't want to go totally there. I can't speak for everybody on the women's soccer team.
But that's what I've heard, that scientifically, women's bodies, when they're allowed that natural rhythm of their life, there's something that's just incredible that can really be explored.
Right. And they really did study, their cycles, and then being that they were all, I mean, how neat is that? That
Yeah.
they, when, you can all get on the generally same cycle when they were together. I mean, you don't plan that,
Right.
it happens over time. So just to study that and really have them train the hardest in their most, early in the month when their estrogen is high and they have the most energy. It's just fascinating to me. I mean, it makes perfect sense if you study it, but if you're not paying attention, and we are now just talking to a lot of amazing organizations out there, just getting, a deeper understanding of women's physiology and endocrinology into curriculums to try to teach doctors, more about this, the ones that are interested at least, and there are plenty there. We did a event with 80 doctors, 80 to 100 doctors in Pittsburgh last year, and their spouses, invited them to our offices in downtown. And we had a really neat event, a beautiful mass, and then just for them to meet each other, and then had Dr. Marguerite Duane, who is the founder of FACTS, which is the Fertility Awareness Collaborative, to teach the science of fertility, do a presentation to all these doctors. And I think it was just really well received. They really were willing to hear, be open to helping their patients more. I think that was the general start of it. And all thought that, they would be open to presenting, to level the playing field on contraception and talk about natural methods, how important they are and how that, it's a great option for their patients. So we felt like that was wonderful, that there was a lot of open-mindedness among the medical community here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I had the blessing of doing a podcast with Dr. Marguerite, her background, Georgetown, Washington, D.C., all that type of stuff, phenomenal doctor. And all of a sudden, when she reflects back onto her own life and getting hooked on, so to speak, contraception, just to kind of help different aspects of her own life going on, the cramping and things, she said she started to bald back here. She had all these issues going on. She talked to a doctor and said, you don't need to do that. And it was like an epiphany moment of like, wait, you mean I can just naturally work through some of these things? I don't need to be throwing chemicals at my body. And it transformed her outlook. So she was in Pittsburgh last year, and I got to do this podcast interview with her. And it was exciting to hear some of the top doctors in the country who are experts in women healthcare recognizing what we've always believed from our theology. So it's like science is finally catching up to us here.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. And so what are some other, so there's the website and things of that nature. Do we have anything coming up with doctors or anything else that you'd want people to be praying about or to hope for the future so that we can truly create this amazing wave of our dear women being able to be proud of their fertility? We just launched the website, so we're like slowly rolling that out to our different groups. And we are encouraging people to take a class, just learn about your fertility. It's an hour. You can start there. If you're interested in learning past that, some of the other methods are a little, more involved. A lot of people take the first class and are fascinated and, want to go further, but take the class, download the app. FEMM is an app that, FEMM.
FEMM. Yeah, you can go to the website, our website, modernfertilitycare.org, and then also download the FEMM app there, or you could go to FEMM's website. There's links on our website, or go directly to there. But we're working with a few doctors here in town that have used the FEMM app with their patients, and it's changed everything. A couple years ago, you would get out charts, and which also works for plenty of people that still like paper and pencil, but a couple of our doctors have said that the FEMM app has really changed things because, women today are used to just doing things on their phone. It takes a few seconds to just make some observations about what's going on with your body. It's not that involved. I do think it's just so simple. And I think people make it out to be bigger, and it doesn't really have to be at all. So
I wonder, what could be the problem with getting to know yourself?
Yeah. Exactly.
And there's some great doctors that are available in our network of doctors. If anybody out there would like to consult one of our doctors or our medical staff, we obviously recognize that this is going to be one of the keys to continuing to have healthy and happy and holy marriages. Because of that, I know for myself, it's whenever I do marriage preparation or talk to couples, it's so hard to discuss contraception and sexuality. First, because let's face it, the church is not a great example of some of its priests and some of the scandals. Second, because contraception has been such a hook, line, sinker type of thing. The science community, medical people have become the new priests and prophets. This is what you have to do to stay healthy and all that stuff. And so, all these things lead to discussions and things, and you can't help but to wonder, one of the challenges of women of getting pregnant today, how that is affected by the fact that they were hoodwinked into having contraception from a very early age. And then all the different issues that come from cancer and these different things. And you're just like, my goodness, it seems like where science had misled us is where its theology was leading us to free ourselves from that kind of a dependence and things. And so I know when I look out at our married couples, I pray so hard that there could be that great openness to understanding their bodies better, so as to be able to free themselves to live their marriages.
And just starting at an early age, I think, is super important. If we're, young, we have young girls who have, painful periods or cramps, or, when they're starting out, and then we take them to the doctor immediately because that's an issue. And then, typically they get put on birth control for that, and you're just like, not always that, I don't want to speak in generalities, but that is something that happens often. So then right there, we're teaching them, that they need to, they need a pill and a doctor right away if there's pain, when get to know your cycle. And I'm not saying that that's not the right move in some cases, but I just feel like if we got them charting first, so that we could then go to a doctor and say, here, this is a little strange about my cycle, I think, could you look at this? And is there another way to help me, or what are my options, as opposed to, here, there's pain and there's issues, and then we just hear that a lot. So that's why I just bring that up as.
So you would encourage all women to start charting, to get to know their cycles, and take that to your doctor, because that type of information, of the knowledge about yourself, is something that, don't you wish all doctors had?
I do. And I think the more women that go to their doctors with her, and doctor look at their charts and say, and more people that come to them, they will have more interest in helping their patients. Every doctor I've met wants to help their patients. They're typically open to this. So it's not like, that they're not resisting it at all. It's just that, they've been trained a certain way and this works for them. So they, that's what they've been doing. But I feel like the more people resist, chemicals, treatments, and just say, can we get to the root cause? I think that's what's the most interesting, is they're getting to the root cause. These doctors that we'll connect you with are getting to the root cause of issues, on a whole gamut, of women's health problems. So
what would you wish from your healthcare provider, for whether it be you or your daughter, for women? What would you hope to see in healthcare providers in our area?
I would love for them to, we've created a brochure that we would love doctors to offer their patients when they talk about birth control. That's a discussion that comes up often. And typically if you say, I'm going to go a natural route, they're like, okay, and that's about it. There's not a lot of doctors that have a lot of knowledge, that they don't really want to be involved if you're going to choose to go a natural route. Some are more open to it. Some I've heard say, tell me about that. Like, how are you going to do that? Or really? Or, try to encourage you to maybe do something else. But, I do think doctors have the best intentions. They do want to help you, but it's just clear that they really don't know that much about it. Plus they also don't have time. They don't have time to sit there and teach you how to chart, and they have time to look at a chart if they had the knowledge behind it. So that's why we think the classes are perfect. The doctor doesn't have to teach the classes. Right. We have certified people teaching the classes. So they teach the classes, you chart, and then if there's issues, you can take them to your doctor.
Yeah, I agree. Just transition a little bit. We also offer things for young adults. What are some of the work that's going on with the young adults? And I think even recently, there was a good event that happened with them.
Yeah, we, Ashley Dillon, who is awesome, in charge of our marriage preparation, she just put together just from all of our marriage preparation, we're meeting so many great couples who say, we wish we would have known this before we got engaged. So they're really enjoying our marriage preparation. So Ashley decided we needed to do an event for younger young adults pre-engaged. So we invited a bunch of young adults on Sunday night. We did an event called Discover the One, and Father Adam did a wonderful mass.
Father Adam Potter.
Yep. He did an amazing mass. Everybody was raving about it. There was beer and pizza, a couple of great speakers. And then we showed The Dating Project, which has been a movie that we've all really embraced and enjoyed, about just dating in today's culture and kind of following, teens and 20-somethings and 30-somethings and 40-somethings, and just following them on their feelings about dating, and when they come to realize, in the case of professionals later in life, how important dating is, and how getting to know someone, sort of without any of all the strings attached, is just really human connection and what we all crave. And even though our culture doesn't promote that, in the end, our bodies, our minds, our hearts are the same, and they always will be. That's what we need. And it's such a great lesson to see these really cool people in this movie just kind of discover this along the way, and they've all taken different paths, but sort of come to the same realization. And we've got a lot of great feedback on that movie. And you can even see that on Netflix. We've showed at different events. We'd love you to come to that, but you can just go see The Dating Project on Netflix, because it is a great movie.
I would recommend anybody who has children who are in their 20s and 30s to watch The Dating Project. It's a great movie. It really strikes at the heart of the fact that one of our big challenges in our world today is, with all the communications, we don't know how to go on a date. And so it kind of like walks you through some of those steps. Well, before we finish, just wanted to see if there's any questions, and if so, how we could. How often do you meet, and where, in terms of Renew the I Do events?
Oh, we have a team of 4 of us. We meet weekly, and then we plan all these fun date nights that we do probably, I'd say 4 or 5 times a year. So we have this Sunday one coming up. And then the other one I want to mention, we are really fired up. It was one of our best events last year. We're going to do it again. Renewal of Vows, Candlelight, Mass, and Dinner, February 13th. So we're starting, for Valentine's Day, World Marriage Week. It's like a wonderful event. People loved it last year. So we're going to do that again, even bigger. So we're planning for that right now. And then Christopher West this Sunday. So the team, Dolores Shipe, I didn't mention her earlier. She's our director of education, and she is responsible for teaching all these teachers. She's been teaching the Billings method of modern fertility care for 20 years. She's prepared a gazillion couples, and is also leading our marriage mentor program and our 5-step prep as part of our whole marriage preparation offerings. And so all of our couples that go through marriage preparation, we're doing about 4 or 5 marriage preparations weekends a year, but then they also can leave, and if they're interested, have a mentor couple. So that has been a wonderful program. Really is inspiring and beneficial for the newly engaged couple, walking with them through their marriage, as it is for the mentors who get a ton out of it, just befriending a young new couple that, starting their journey. It's been a really great program.
Yeah, the other day I had a chance to go to North Park, and there we were having beer and pizza with some superstar couples from our great grouping from around the city. And it kind of just comes full circle that what we're being blessed with in Renew the I Do is to try to help young people to get to know some of the great facets of marital love through our date nights and through some of the things that we're doing. And then doing marriage prep with a 5-step prep, which is fantastic, offering weekends, which is some of the most exciting things I get to do. I love sitting down with couples and charting how they got here and why God's story and all that is a blast. But if there's one thing that I hope people take away from our conversation today, is that we would do anything as a foundation to try to cheer on your marriage. I almost wish I had a terrible towel right here and just was like, yeah, it can be messy, it can be tough, but we're here to cheer you on. And there's no doubt that I think for me and for Arlene, these 9 or 10 years that we've been doing this together has been incredible. What would you hope a takeaway is before we conclude here? I
think that's it. We care. We care so much about marriage. We really do. And we just want everyone to be inspired and know that it's difficult, but we're here to cheer you on, and we really care. And our marriage preparation, I think, really shows that too. On the we love the date nights and the enriching things that we do, but we love marriage preparation too, and just setting young couples up on, you know, an awesome journey that is marriage. And
Right.
and we, you know, everyone on our team just cares so much, and we put a lot of love into all the stuff we do. So we want everyone to share it with us, and you know, come to our date nights. And if you have children or you are thinking about getting married, come to marriage preparation, whether you're engaged or not, because it's a great journey to go on. Our speakers are awesome.
It's true, and we have a great dream team. There's no doubt on our Renew the I Do team. So give us a call. We'd love to help you with any of the facets of things that we've discussed today. And before we finish up, join me next Tuesday, November 17th, 2 p.m. And I'll be exploring Catholicism with a dear mom who tries to inspire us how to have peacefulness in the busyness of the holiday season coming up.
Wonderful.
And she does such a wonderful job with being able to both plan and know that the plan's going to get wrecked, but even in the wreckage of the plans, you can still have peacefulness.
Awesome.
And so I just felt like this is a great time as we're just about to get at Thanksgiving, the COVID stuff, all this thing going on, Christmas, New Year's. Could we just sit down with a mom who perhaps can enlighten some ways to have peacefulness in a busyness of our lives?
Fabulous.
So
I can't wait
join
to watch
me with
it.
Redora Nethling next week there. I just wanted to conclude with from this book, Love is Patient, But I'm Not. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful. It is not arrogant or rude. Love does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrong, but rejoices in the right. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Obviously comes from St. Paul, captured in this book by Christopher West. And I pray for everybody's marriages that they always continue to be great gifts of God's love for us and the world around us.